Well, good afternoon, my friends. It's a pleasure to be here with you for this week's devotional. It seems like forever since I last posted devotional, so it's great to be here with you. And I hope you're off to a great start to your week. If you were with me this past Sunday, we looked at the book of 1 Samuel chapter 13 and the life of King Saul. And we looked at the way that King Saul started off in his ministry. We saw how this man began filled with the Holy Spirit and obediently following the instructions of the Lord. He learned how to wait upon the Lord at the beginning of his ministry. But not long after that, soon after, he began to lose his patience. And what we read in 1 Samuel chapter 13, verses 5 to 14, we saw where Saul is waiting upon Samuel to arrive. The Philistine army has gathered its forces, and his soldiers are beginning to flee and lose hope and courage. They're beginning to hide in the caves. Some of them are fleeing across the Jordan. And he begins to lose his patience. He's waiting upon Samuel, and Samuel had told him, "Wait for me for 7 days. And when I arrive, I will sacrifice, and then we will wait upon the Lord's instruction." But King Saul, losing patience, not willing to wait, decided to go ahead and offer the sacrifice himself. And what we saw was a man who looked around and he saw his circumstances and began to become afraid, began to become insecure, and began to feel fear. And as a result, he lost his patience and did something that was out of the instructions of the Lord. And as a result, when the prophet Samuel arrived and he says, "What is this that you have done?" He says, "Well, I had to do it. My soldiers were fleeing. The army was about to, is about to attack, and you hadn't arrived." By all of his excuses, Saul had failed to be patient and wait upon the Lord. And when we looked at the message for this week, I gave you an illustration about how the trapeze artists, whenever they perform their act, there are two positions. There's the catcher and there's the flyer. And I told you how each one of them has a distinct job. The flyer is the one who lets go of the bar and does his somersaults and his twists, and he performs the act, while the catcher's job is to specifically catch the flyer. And we talked about how the master trapeze artist will say that the flyer cannot do the job of the catcher. He cannot try to reach out and try to catch the catcher, otherwise he'll fall. He has to simply reach out his hands and wait for the catcher to catch him. And it's the same way for you and I. If the Lord is the one catching us, then we're the flyer. We're the ones doing what the Lord calls us to do, but we have to wait. We have to simply stretch out our hands and wait for the catcher to catch us. And here in the life of King Saul, he began to grasp. He began to lose patience. And we are a very, very impatient bunch. We put timelines and time limits on what the Lord should do in our prayers. And we forget that we need to wait and allow the Lord to function on His time. Our lives are measured by His timing, not our own. Our prayers are answered by His agenda, not our own. And so on this day, I want to encourage you to remember to learn to wait upon the Lord. Don't make the mistake that King Saul made. Don't try to take action in your own hands. Don't try to do things on your own. We've tried that before and it doesn't work very well. We have to simply wait upon the Lord. And I promise you, if you wait and you listen for His voice, He will not fail you. He is always a God who completes His promises. May this message encourage you and sustain you. And until next time, God bless you.